Welcome to this presentation on engaging students in standard-based grading. The key items I want to hit on here are make sure you nail the introduction of standard-based grading to your class, and this can happen on the first day in either a traditional-based class, face-to-face, or it could be in a video you introduce to your class. And making sure they're clear on what standard-based grading is and how it's going to happen in your classroom, and I'll have some pointers on that coming up. Secondly, you're going to have to continually remind students about what you talked about in your introduction. Especially if they're new to this. Now, students are getting more and more exposed to standard-based grading prior to getting to college, university level classes, but many are not. And so you need to continually remind throughout this semester, hey, there's a lot of opportunity in standard-based grading than what you're used to. So you're going to have to do that. All right. Where this all comes from is my experience this past semester in doing a class. And I did as much as I could to get ready for that class. And then it's pretty much aim fire. Go at it, get going into it. And through the semester and even now as I prepare for next year, it's more of aiming again and taking the time with that, with the experience that I got from last semester, and firing again. All right, so hopefully you can spend a little bit more time getting ready and aiming before you get through your first experience of using standard-based grading. And hopefully this can help in that process. I hope it does. All right, so introduction. So a couple of pointers when you're doing your introduction is purpose. What is the purpose of standard-based grading for you, and why did you implement it as opposed to doing a traditional mode of grading? For me, it's that I want students to be able to show with their grade, the grade at the end of the course shows that what they knew by the end of the course. It's not something that showed what they did in exam 1 and how it averaged with exam 2 and averaged with exam 3 and then the final. But it's something that is an appropriate, as best I can in the tools and the experience that I have so far, to show that what the students know by the end of the class. Because that's what they then, as much as possible, take with them. Now obviously there's some loss in what they remember, but at least the exposure to the material by what they have by the end of the class. And I try to emphasize that. Secondly, how will the scoring work when they see when I do this scoring, the standard-based scoring? And then how will that translate to a percentage-based scale? So that what are they familiar with from the past? From this, if I get an 80%, I have a B minus. If I get an 85, a B. 93, it's right on the edge. Is that an A or A minus? So what does your scoring look like, and how will that translate to a percentage point? Next thing I want to talk about is that there's more than one opportunity to achieve a standard. I think this is a big key item, especially going back to the purpose of saying, hey, there's more than one opportunity for you to achieve this standard. It's not just one and done, and that was your last opportunity. And move on. You get multiple opportunities, and this is great for when students come into your office and ask you questions, say, hey, I blew it, how can I get better? It's like, well, let's look at what you did here with this, where are you weak at? What are the different standards that I have for you, and where did you do well, and where do you need some work? And especially when we look at the opportunities, hey, this opportunity, I've done all the ones that we're going to have on that one. There may be another one on the final, depending on how you do that. But otherwise, there's not any more opportunities, so let's focus on the other things that we have left to do. And it helps the student focus in on what they need to do. Or if they do have an opportunity to improve in something, they can focus on that as well. So both those things can play into your conversation. So it's more about the standards than just a grade. The final thing is examples of course grading. So let me show you how I've done grading, standard-based grading. You could do it differently, but I think it's really key that you show students this and have them, give them an opportunity to see how their grade can work out using standard-based grading. So some of the reminders that you want to do throughout the semester, and again, this is multiple times throughout the term. It's not just once, maybe at midterm or after exam. It's going to be multiple times. Maybe not quite every week, but it's going to be a decent amount of students try to understand how you're doing things. Again, I would always go back to the purpose. I think this is key, because if this is exciting for you, hopefully help provide some excitements for students and saying, hey, I want your grade to reflect what you know by the end of the class. All right? And again, you have multiple opportunities to achieve a standard, achieve each standard that I have for you. And so if you don't do well in the first one, hey, you got a second opportunity. Or if you did really well in the first one, hey, stay with it because I still need to show, I still need to see it, you know what you're doing. So don't just slough off, because if you go down, there's opportunity for your score to go down. So again, stick with it and show me that you really know what you know. All right. And this is just general teaching advice, but do your best to avoid surprises. So my biggest problem when I talk about ready, aim, fire there at the beginning of my presentation here, that came out of the fact that the translation to the percentage-based scales, I was very slow on figuring it, because it was my first time through and I didn't want to over-predict. So I actually slid on the other side of under-predicting, and I was very slow even with that to let students say, hey, this is how I'm going to translate the scores from my 0 to 4 scale to my percentage-based scale. So again, avoiding those types of kind of big grade type item surprises will really do you well as you move forward. So overall, I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below in this video. I'd be happy to respond to them. Also, I've had some experience with doing this in Moodle, or at least a hack for now with what Moodle has. So there'll be a link for that as well in the video description if you want to check that out. But hope to hear from you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.